Okay, so when I introduced this project, I said I had the 5 fabrics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I realized that in my original pattern, this one, I got like, here, I got like 1 yard of this, 1 yard of this. I got 1 yard of things except like this fancy one, which I got like 3 yards of. But in this pattern, I only got half a yard of this, half a yard of this, and half a yard of this. So I very quickly realized that I will have to supplement because most of this fabric is going to go to a shirt, and then this is also going to go to a shirt. So I found this and this in my stash, as well as this nice fabric. It's like it's lace, you can see it. I have 4 yards of this. I will not use nearly that much. And I also went to Walmart and I got this, which matches very well, and it kind of brings this one into the pattern more. I think they really complement each other. I like how this one makes these two, or actually these three, look more cohesive together. After much consideration and a couple of hours doing math, I have decided on the layout for this next project. For this pumpkin fabric, I'm going to have 3 inches high, 2 strips, 28 inches long. For this scarecrow fabric, because it's so it's a wide pattern, I need to have a larger section in order for the pattern to be legible. So this is actually going to be 8 3/4 inches wide, which is going to be like the full length divided by 2. And then for this hem, nice teal dress hem fabric, I need the strip to be 4 inches wide, which is as wide as this can go because it is a specific height. And it's going to be 2 strips at 34.5 inches. It is one continuous strip, but I have to divide it by 2 in order to put the pockets in. Now this patchwork fabric, I'm going to have 2 strips, 44 inches long. So the whole layer is going to be 88 inches long. And then I have this olive fabric. Now this fabric I have is 152 inches long, but I'm only going to use 110 inches of it because it would be too big if I used all 150 some odd inches. This vintage truck fabric, I'm going to have 3 strips of 44 inches long, and it's going to be 5.5 inches tall. This teal lace, I'm going to have 3 strips at 6 1/4 inches tall, and they're going to be 39 inches long each, which is the width of the fabric. And then for this ikat, or faux ikat, I'm going to have 11 strips, and they're going to be 3 inches tall because I'm going to take the pattern like 2 by 2. So this is going to be 1 strip, and then I'm going to cut it so that I have this, so that the whole thing is going to be matching as close as possible, so it just looks like 1 large strip. And then because of the very striking pattern on this, I don't want to use the bottom of it as a hem. So I'm actually going to take this like nice brownish ribbon, which I do have enough of, and it is going to go all along the bottom, and it's going to create a little hem tape. So you'll see how I do it, but I'm going to sew it and then fold it so it's sticking out the end a little bit. And the next step, of course, is to cut everything out which I am going to do. I'm going to use this rotary knife. I also have to remove the little stitching on the bottom of this and this in order to get that flat, and I have to iron it. But gotta get to chopping. Okay, so we've got all of the pieces cut out, and I'm just about to start sewing them together. So I've put my thread on the serger machine, and I thought I'd keep it decorative. So I've got my teals and my the teals and the oranges. I think they just complement each other, and the whole skirt. That way it'll be really pretty. And since I'm just using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I am just going to use the serger to sew the layers together rather than sew them and then serge them. So I'm just going to sew the strips together with the serger. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do construction-wise, of course I've stitched all this together, but is going to sew these two strips together because I'm going to put the pockets inside, like right about here. So I have to have these put together before I put the pockets in. So it's gonna be easy. I'm just gonna run a gathering stitch at the top of this, and then pin them and sew them together and then serge them. So now I'm gonna put the pockets in. I think this looks really cute. There's not as many gathers as I would like, but can't do anything about that. It's still, because of the way the dress that this was cut off was made, there is a lot of like flounce at the bottom. So that is good. Now I'm gonna add these pockets. I'm still not sure if I want to use this material because, as you can see, it's super thin and I'm worried it's going to wear out. But the way you add pockets is to hold it, to line it up like this, stitch it on all 4 sides because I have 2 pockets, 1 on each side. So hold it like this, stitch it on both sides, and then open it up, press it, do a little understitching, and then sew the outline of the 2 sides together. That's it. There's really nothing to putting pockets in. I'm also going to add little ties from this to the top of this piece, just so that it gets a little extra structure so the pocket doesn't drag the side of the skirt down in a weird way. It's supported by the waist. I've got the pockets inserted and the pocket bags. I did decide against that cotton lawn. I just thought it'd be a waste of time to use it because it would tear really easily, and I did end up using this fabric from Walmart, so I can't get my like $6 back. But it looks cute, and I'm kind of glad because I think it looks really nice with the rest of these fabrics. And here's what it looks like from the outside. Got a cute little pocket. And it's very clean. This lines up very well. The fabric looks really nice against this. So I've got my 2 pockets. They're not as deep as my other pockets, but I think that's okay, because I kind of have to dig around in the other ones. These ones will just be a lot easier to manage. Next, I'm going to iron all of these pieces just to make the continuing construction a lot quicker, and then I don't have to go back and iron each row as I add it. thought I'd start with the bottom layer, stitch it and put it together, and then adding the little hem tape. That way I don't have to worry about putting the hem on with the whole dress constructed and just getting in the way. Okay, so I've added that ribbon to the bottom. I stitched it on top like this, flat, and then I just spent the last couple of minutes ironing it underneath. So now the hem is gonna have this nice shiny ribbon sticking out. I'm gonna top stitch it in place all the way around the bottom. That way it doesn't fall out like this. And this way preserves the most amount of the fabric pattern as possible, since I only have like this much being used for the hem instead of twice that. So I'm just gonna top stitch the whole thing and go from there. Just have to figure out what color I want to use.
Since these layers are so big, I don't want to use the gathering thread method because that's just going to waste thread. Yes, it does work, it is proper, but I'm just going to pin them together and then like ease the extra fabric into gathers. That way I can save the fabric, I can save the thread. Because I don't want to have to go and get more, especially since I don't know if the colors are still available, because I got them at Joann's, and we all know what happened at Joann's. So I'm going to pin these layers together and then take them to the sewing machine and attach them.
Okay, so here we've got, again, the top two layers of the pocket, and here's the bottom two layers. There aren't that many, gathering pleats and stuff, because the difference was too little, but that's okay. You can still tell that this is more voluminous than the top, so I'm happy with that. My next step is to start sewing the waistband. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna have this out like here. I think I'm going to serge around the edges of these preemptively, and then I'm going to stitch them together like this, making sure the pumpkins are all going the same way. So I'm going to stitch them together like this on both sides, and then press them open, and then attach them to the top of this skirt. So my next step is to attach this waistband, and I have pressed it in half to make it easier for the next couple of steps. So what I'm just gonna do is, of course, I'm gonna line up the seam and the seam, but I'm going to fold it like this, and I'm just gonna sew these two layers together all the way around. And then at the back, well, once I've done that, I'm gonna fold it up like this, press it again, and make sure all of the seam allowance is okay. all of the seam allowances inside the waistband. And then I'm going to sew the back half down. Okay, so I have the waistband stitched on proper. I stitched in the ditch, so there's like a little bit of visible stitching on the top, but I'm okay with that. It makes it nice and clean and folds, make sure all the seam, stitching in the ditch makes sure the seam allowance is facing the right directions to minimize the bulk at the waist. So my next step is to take my elastic, which is 3-inch wide. I'm going to insert it into the casing, stitch it together, and then close that final gap. Okay, so I've got the top of the skirt done and the bottom of the skirt done. Now I just have to put the middle skirt together. I've got these 3 layers. I'm just going to continue the process like what I've done with that one and this one. Pin them, stitch them, then take them to the serger. I do have to sew them first because I have to pin them, and you can't sew over pins the way you can with a serger, the way you can with a sewing machine, because it'll cut the pins, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to finish that up. It's gonna be so cute. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this being cute. Oh, yay! And I think this waistband looks really cute as well. I did do some top stitching on this just to hold it straight, because I'll come over here to this and it's just a little too floppy, and I don't like the way the waistband's unstructured. So this waistband, I put these extra stitches in it so that it's more structured. I think that looks, well, I think it looks better. It is more difficult to adjust later if I need to. That's the one con of doing it this way. But I think it'll be okay. So I'm just gonna put these together without any further ado. Okay, so I've finished the bottom half and the top half. Now the last step, other than pressing it, making sure all the gathers are nice and flat, is to attach the top to the bottom. Yeah, because these this layer doesn't seem to want to lay flat, so I've got to press this to make sure it all looks nice. But top and bottom. Got my little buddy over here taking his cat nap. The bird feeder's empty. I just filled it yesterday and it's empty. So he's taking a nap instead of watching the birds. Okay, so everything's finally stitched. Now I just gotta press it and make sure all the gathers are nice and settled and it's smooth and it's flowing and it doesn't bunch up anywhere.
Hi guys! Thank you for spending the last few minutes with me. I really appreciate it. I've already been wearing the skirt for about a week now and it's extremely comfortable. I love the way it fits. I love the way it lays. It's just amazing. Well, I'd like to give a big shout out to all 52 of my subscribers. I really appreciate your videos. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye!